going on, guys? It is Sneed from Sneed Mobile Tech, and in today's video we're going to take a look at a root metrics report. This kind of closes off everything that we did in terms of covering all the reports from all the major testing agencies. A couple weeks ago we looked at PC Mag, a week ago we looked at Ookla, and then we did Open Signal, and then now we're going to close things off with root metrics, and this kind of seals the deal for all network performance testing. For this particular video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at several key factors and what contributes to the testing. We'll look at things like methodology, what root metrics did in terms of how they tested. We'll also look at what types of categories they created and what they tested for. I'll take you guys through the website. It's actually pretty nice. It's well organized, and it's got a lot of really cool things. Show you guys how to navigate it, show you guys the different categories, different segments, things of that nature. Also look at each carrier's national performance, strengths and weaknesses, things like trends. And then we'll kind of close things up with graphics. We'll look at the PDF that they compiled, kind of a holistic look at the performances of the carriers. And then I'll kind of wrap things up with the SMT takeaways. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the actual website, how to navigate it, and all the different things that they provide in terms of their testing. Alright guys, so here's what we're going to do with this particular video. I'm going to show you guys how to navigate the website. I'm going to show you how to access all the different testing segments, all the metrics, all the graphics, all that good stuff is going to be covered here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to rootmetrics.com, and what I've noticed is that to get to the place that we want to go, if you go to where it says root score reports, you can access all the documentation we want to see there. So I'll go ahead and click on that, let the page load up, and you'll see it gives you an overall performance metric for all the major markets there. That's actually not what we want. We want to look at something a little bit different. So if you go to this drop-down menu and you see where it says home, root score reports, coverage map, all that, we're kind of in the coverage map part. But what's kind of nice about this part is it shows you all the different markets and it lists it in terms of alphabetical order for each of the different cities. These are considered major markets in testing. So you can actually switch this and go from like A to Z, or here it's kind of like Y to, I guess Y to A. But anyways, if you go ahead and hit home, it'll kind of take you to their base page, and you can see where it says view the reports, shows you all the different articles that they do based on the reports. If you click view the reports, it takes you right back there. All right, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to methodology, and it kind of breaks down everything that they do in terms of testing and what they test for, their goals, their mission, all that good stuff. Go back to the menu, and you can see the root score reports again. And what we're going to take a look at are the different segments of testing. And I'm going to go ahead, and it says search for a port where it says metro area. We're going to go to state national. All right. And then you're going to want to click on United States because we want to look at the entirety of the U.S. from a national standpoint. So you click on that, and it generates a review of everything for the nation. If you want to look at a certain state, if you want to look at a certain market, you can access that on a different level. So here are the 6 segments. You've got overall performance, network reliability, network speed, data performance, call performance, and text. I'm glad that they actually do test for text, call, as well as all the other things, because obviously the networks are a big deal in terms of data, but people still call, and obviously texting needs to be reliable. So those metrics matter in my opinion. Now, what I like about root metrics and what they do with their website is, and I'm going to go ahead and move me up a little bit there. You can see that they always put the last testing segment included in this, so you can compare last year or last half's reports comparing to this year. So it tells you who won during the last segment of testing and then this year's testing metrics. So this one in particular is the overall root score. You guys can see overall performance. There's Verizon. You guys can go ahead and pause the video there for overall performance. This is a collected score, an aggregated score, however they do their testing. You see Verizon came out on top, AT&T a little bit behind, then T-Mobile, which is pretty far behind in third, and then Sprint right on T-Mobile's tails at fourth. So that's overall score. Go ahead and switch over to network reliability. There's your scores there. You guys can pause the video if you like. Here's network speed, which I feel has become kind of a de-emphasized testing metric in my opinion. I feel there's other things that are more important. So to me, if this is important to you, no problem. Check it out. You guys can pause the video and look at it. It's not that important to me, actually, and I'll explain why a little bit later. Here's data performance, which I think is an important metric, in my opinion. You can see that the carriers are pretty close there, Verizon and AT&T. T-Mobile, not too far behind Sprint, a little bit behind T-Mobile there in rankings. Call performance, which still matters to me, in my opinion. There's some huge discrepancies there in call performance. Verizon in first, AT&T in second. They're not too far off. Sprint really far behind in third, and then T-Mobile even further behind in fourth. Not sure what's going on there with the calling testing and the performance. And then here's texting. AT&T in first, Verizon in second, Sprint in third, and it's pretty close there between those three. And then T-Mobile kind of far behind Sprint. Not sure what happened there is what the situation is there. What's kind of nice there with root metrics, they give you the carrier that's doing the best in terms of just the color coordination. So they've got Verizon, and then AT&T and Verizon shared. So this is why I call this the Verizon test. I don't know what the testing methodology is, how it's conducive to their performance, but it just seems to be perfect for them. All right, so that's kind of like the take home. There's your previous testing metrics for all of them, all 6 segments, and how they score dating all the way back to 2013. So 6 years of aggregated data. Here it kind of shows you what they've been testing for, the different types of diagnostics and methodologies that they use. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys the PDF and a kind of an analysis of what's happening there. So I've already downloaded the PDF, and you guys can kind of see the metric of how it's being established and how they present the data. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give you guys the breakdown, so that way you don't have to do too much in terms of digging around and trying to figure out, what is all this. We'll kind of look at it collectively together, and then we'll see which carriers seem to be doing the best. All right, so starting at the top, when you guys first access this PDF, I'm going to scroll all the way there. All right, so you've got the report. First page talks about the methodology of testing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at the first metric. This is your overall scoring. So this is on a national level. And you guys can pause the video. I'm just going to slide my picture up there. All right, so this is half 1 2019. There's your carrier breakdown rankings on the total root score. This is why it's called the Verizon test. They scored the highest. And AT&T is pretty close at, a difference of only 1.6. But T-Mobile and Sprint are pretty noticeably far behind, and they're pretty close to each other as well. That's an overall. In the middle segment, you've got reliability. Again, Verizon taking the cake, AT&T behind, Sprint at third, T-Mobile at fourth, and they're pretty far behind. Then you have for speeds, this is speed of everything. So speed of data, speed of calling, speed of texting. Verizon, again, number 1, AT&T at 2, T-Mobile at 3, and they're pretty far behind is Sprint. National root score in terms of data, call, and texting as individual segments. Verizon, and then AT&T and Verizon there. You guys can pause the video to take a look at that graphic. All right, next page of the PDF. You have the state root scores tally. This is interesting because it looks at the number of state wins in certain segments. So that's going to be calling, texting, data, reliability, overall performance for each state. So Verizon held strong onto 263 state tally awards. AT&T actually lost some, so they were at 129 last half. They're at 113 this half. T-Mobile lost 4, and then Sprint lost 5. So 3 carriers lost state tally awards. Verizon held steady onto theirs. And I think what happened here is there's a lot more tying between the carriers. All right, so that's that performance. And then here's your state awards overall. For overall testing, reliability, and speeds, AT&T's got a lot. Verizon has the most. T-Mobile took home 9 for speeds, 1 state reliability award. Sprint didn't have any state awards. Very unfortunate there. You can kind of see that Verizon, again, this is the Verizon test. And then you have the state root awards for data, call, and texting as 3 individualized segments. AT&T with quite a few, Verizon with the most. Sprint took home 10 on texting, and then T-Mobile took 7 state breakdowns for texting and then 1 for calling. All right, let's go to the next page. And this one gives you the key takeaways and highlights for each of the carriers. There's your AT&T breakdown. There's your Sprint breakdown. Next page has T-Mobile and Verizon. And then it talks a little bit about testing. I think there's one more thing I wanted to show. Here's this part. So on a national scale, who seems to be doing well in certain markets and who seems to be doing the poorest in a market. So there's your fastest, AT&T in Portland, and then T-Mobile the slowest. It's got Pittsburgh in there. It's got Seattle, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Boston. If you're from these areas, maybe you can confirm this. Maybe you agree with this report, kind of like how they performed. There's New York, Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, Denver, Frisco, Los Angeles, all those there. I think that's mostly what they provide in terms of graphics. Here's the metro tallies. So this is metropolitan areas and markets. Verizon, continuing, they actually increased their metro area tallies. So this is like how many markets, they performed the best in. So Verizon with the most, AT&T with the second most, T-Mobile in 3, Sprint in 4th. So that's consistent from last testing half to this testing half. Notice that Sprint added some metropolitan areas. Notice that T-Mobile lost some metropolitan areas. Not sure what happened there. AT&T added and Verizon added. So kind of interesting to look at the metropolitan breakdown. Here's the median download speeds for each of the carriers. You guys can pause the video if you like, learning about the download speeds. You see AT&T has a lot of, I guess we could say markets of 20 or more megabits per second of speeds on average download. To me, I think like there's a measure of capacity, really, if you think about it. Sprint, they kind of mostly between the 10 to 40 range. They don't really do much for 40 plus. T-Mobile's kind of a mixed bag. They do have markets of 40 plus, 30 to 40, 20 to 30, a little bit of 10 to 20. But Verizon taking the cake from 20 on. So Verizon, again, this is the Verizon test. Here's your data reliability. You've got excellent in getting connected and then excellent in staying connected. AT&T, very balanced, very good. T-Mobile, very balanced, very good. Verizon, very balanced and very good. Actually, AT&T and Verizon, very, very close there. And T-Mobile, like right on their heels. Sprint, kind of a distant fourth in terms of data reliability during the half. And there it talks about the key takeaways. And here's your AT&T median download speed metrics. You guys can take a look at those if you like. Here's Sprint's. You guys can pause the video if you like. Here's kind of the report there. Metro Awards. Here's T-Mobile's. Oops, went too fast. T-Mobile's. Pause the video if you like. And of course, you can access these. I'll put the links in the description box below for both the PDF and the actual website. Here's Verizon's. There's their download speeds, metro area tally. You guys can check those out if you like. And I think that pretty much wraps up the PDF and the website. So here are my takeaways, and I'll do this kind of quickly. AT&T's overall performance was better than T-Mobile and Sprint, according to metrics. Second place in 5 categories. Tied for Verizon in texting, 5th consecutive year we've seen this metrics. Next carrier, Sprint. All their categories were pretty much the same as previous testing. They finished last in so many of them in terms of data performance, network reliability, but they did improve to 3rd in some, which is good. 3rd in texting, right behind Verizon and AT&T. So who's to say next half of testing, Sprint couldn't overtake them there? It's very possible. T-Mobile scored 3rd or 4th in overall performance, network speed, data performance, call and text performance. It's been the same for a long time, so they're pretty steady there. Data and network speed right behind AT&T. Their award total did decline. Verizon winning or sharing first in all 6 categories. 263 of the 300 available test metrics belong to Verizon. 12 consecutive testing periods, 6 years in a row where they have really dominated this testing. Verizon appears to be the carrier to beat across the board in this testing metric of root metrics. More awards than any, taking from T-Mobile and AT&T. This particular half, Verizon really is the carrier to beat. AT&T, steady second place in a lot of metrics, network speeds. They've only won probably half of the award tallies that Verizon has on state level, on metro level. They seem to be the second carrier. T-Mobile, kind of a mixed bag. Reliable, fast in terms of data. They do very well in metro areas. I think some of their scoring, due to the lack of coverage that they have in the more extended parts of the U.S., maybe it's kind of manifesting itself in these reports. Sprint, getting faster, getting better. Average speeds are improving, more awards than last year, which is good. But they're so distant in so many metrics. I think it's kind of a pain to have to kind of bring this up time and time again, that Sprint, lags behind so many of the carriers in so many ways. So what I want to do is I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Go ahead and drop me a line. Let me know what you think of Root Metrics, the report, the performances, the categories, the award tallies, anything you guys want to speak to. Go ahead and let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions there. So I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please go ahead, like and share this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to get more videos like this. Also, make sure you've got that notification bell activated so you guys get notified whenever I do upload new videos, and you stay up on all of your carrier performance reports, merger updates, and anything that is wireless in terms of network performances and updates. And also, if you'd like to get more involved with the community, there's the Discord community. I'll put a link in the description box below for that. There's also the Patreon community if you want to get more videos like this, more in-depth analysis, more exclusive content. I'll put a link for the Patreon page as well. Big shout out to the Patreon patrons for supporting SMT. And if you'd like to support production here on the SMT YouTube channel and get a special shout out, a sponsorship to the next video, go ahead and leave me a PayPal donation, whether small or occasional. Those considerations are greatly appreciated. So I think I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Hopefully you learned something from the Root Metrics report. I think I'll leave it there. I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.